Again, Year 9s, this time we're going to talk about, well, really going to refresh your memory about how to solve quadratic equations. So we have done this in our expanding and factorising topic, but I get that a lot of people have forgotten that because it was a while ago. So let's have a go at a couple of examples. So let's say you're given something like this. This is still using the null factor law, by the way. So what we're going to do is we need to find two numbers, okay? So we're going to find two numbers so that we can do this, right? So we're going to have x plus or minus something, x plus or minus something, right? So we need to find two numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term, okay? So add to the middle term, multiply to the last term. So two numbers that add to 3 and multiply to 2, okay? Really not that hard this time. It's just 2 and 1, isn't it? Because 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So then you just solve for x. So given what we talked about before, for this statement to be true, one of these brackets must equal 0. So negative 2 plus 2 would equal 0, and negative 1 plus 1 would equal 0. So they are the answers for x, okay? So what you need to do is look at your original equation, find two numbers that add to the middle, multiply to the last, and stick them in your brackets. So let's do another example. So let's say we have x squared minus 10x plus 9, okay? What two numbers are you going to put in your brackets? Well, factors of 9, 3 and 3. Well, that doesn't really work. You can't make negative 10 out of 3 and 3. What about 9 and 1? Well, that works. If you make them both negative, they will add to negative 10 and multiply to positive 9 because the negatives cancel each other out if you're multiplying. So x must be positive 9 in that one and positive 1 in that one. Okay? So when you're talking about putting things into brackets, remember, add to the middle term, multiply to the last term. Let's have one more go at doing one with let's do a factoring one first. So let's say 5x squared plus 20x minus 60, okay? Let's do this one first. What we're going to do is remember the first step is always take out a common factor if you can. These other ones we couldn't. There was nothing common to all three terms. This time, 5 is common to everything. There is a 5, and a 5. You can divide all of these by 5. So we're left with x squared. We're left with, if you divide 20 by 5, you end up with 4. And if you divide 60 by 5, you end up with 12. Okay? Now we need to find two numbers that add to positive 4 and multiply to negative 12. Okay? Now what two numbers do you think we could get? I don't know why I'm asking you. You can't answer me, obviously. Well, if it's got to multiply to a negative number, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So think about factors. 12 and 1, not really going to work. 3 and 4, well, we can't really make that work either. But 6 and 2, we could definitely make work. So if we had positive 6 and negative 2, they would multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 4. So what do we say x is? Well, it has to be negative 6 in the first bracket and positive 2 in the second bracket. So that is how we work it out. Let's have a go at doing a negative one though. So let's say we had negative x squared minus 8. Actually, let's make it minus 9x. Minus 9x minus 8. Okay, let's have a go at doing that. We do not like this first number to have a negative in front of it. So we're going to take it out and put everything back inside brackets. So if we change one sign, we have to change every sign. So this becomes positive x squared, this becomes positive 9x, and this becomes, whoa, I think I wrote those signs wrong. This should be a positive, sorry, my bad. So this should be a negative 9x, and this should be a positive 8, okay? So this way, we've changed every single sign. If you're going to change one, change them all. Now, we're going to do exactly what we normally do, and find what two numbers will add to negative 9 and multiply to positive 8. Well, there's either 4 and 2. Well, that's not going to work. But what about 8 and 1? That'll work. So what do they need to be? They both need to be negative because they will cancel each other out when you multiply to positive 8 and they will add to negative 9. So let's look at the answers. For this bracket to be true, x has to be 8, and for this bracket to be true, x has to be 1. So if we were to plot it, we'd have a 1, we'd have an 8, and we draw our parabola like that, okay? So make sure you remember, if there's a negative x squared, you want to take out the negative first. You do not want that in there. That would just confuse you, okay? And back here, if there's a common factor, take it out first. If there's not, great. You can just start by putting things straight into brackets, finding two numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term, okay? If you've got any more questions, please come see me.